Hello, I'm Joshua Carr. Today I'd like to talk to you about adding more complexity to your financial model by adding in a list of expenses and making them modestly variable. So let me show you what I mean by that. Currently on the cash flow statement, we have this line just called operating expenses. And that's fine, it's OPEX and it's just a plug, but obviously operating expenses are more complex than just 100, 102, 104 growing at inflation. I'm going to make this a little bit more, well, complex. Now, I could build the complexity on this page, but I find often if you're going to add additional complexity, it's a better idea to build a subschedule and then have it link into this schedule. And of course, the reason I'm also doing this and having these subschedules is, for one, to show you how complex you can make it, and for two, as I keep building to this model, if I'm going to add extra levels of complexity, I'm going to need some subschedules. So I'm going to make a schedule that I will call operating expenses, and, call the line operating expenses. Good enough name. Make it bigger. And I'll put in a list of expenses, real estate taxes, insurance, utilities, management fee, other, other. And I'll just, for here, I'm going to have a thing where I've got, what is that, like 7, 8, 9, 10. I'm going to just make a line right around there. And I'm going to add that up. And I'm going to bring that across. I'm also going to bring in, I'm going to insert another column here. I'm going to have a starting value for each of these, and then I'm going to have a line that I'll call method. So I'll put in value. So in this case, I'm going to have a series of methods. There are going to be 3 methods in this case. There's going to be a dollar per foot number, there's going to be a dollar amount per number, and there's going to be a percent per year calculation. And based on if it's dollar per foot, dollar amount, or percent per year, we're going to do different things. So first off, I'm going to do data validation, and I'm going to have a little thing. Let me put in something here. I'm going to have a 1, a 2, or a 3. So for example, down here we're going to say 1, 2, 3, and the 1s are going to be dollar per square foot, and the 2s are going to be dollar amount, and the 3s are going to be percent of effective gross revenue. So for example, actually, let me just bring this back for a moment. There are ways to make this prettier, but this will work for now. I'm going to make taxes an amount, insurance a per foot, utilities a per foot, EGR a 3, and these I'll just leave blank for now. Taxes, and let me see what I was running before I start messing with this. So I was running about 10 bucks a foot in OPEX. So I'm going to make, and sorry, it's a 10,000 foot building. Okay, so I'm going to make my utilities 3 bucks a foot, my insurance $1 a foot, better yet 50 cents a foot, which means I'm going to want to make that about 6 bucks, and it's a 10,000 foot building, so I'll make that around $60,000. There it is. And maybe you want to format this, but you don't have to, obviously. That's up to you. And the management fee I'll do as 3%, or better yet, I'll just put it in as 3, so this way I don't have to even worry about how it flows through. I just put in 2 or 3 or 4, and then I can build out the method. So now what we're going to do is, based on the value of 1s, 2s, or 3s, it's going to do something. So we've got years 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's just years up here. So the choose function is very useful for this. A choose function, depending on the index number, a 1, a 2, or 3, it does something. So I'll choose that value of what's in that cell, and it'll then, based on if it's a 1, a 2, or a 3, it's going to do something. So to make life easy, I'm going to put in A, B, C, close parentheses. Actually, let me put some quotes around that thing. And as you'll be able to see, just to see the way this thing works, you know, if it's a 1, it's an A. If it's a 2, it's a B. It's a 3, it's a C. I'll make it a 2. So in this case, if it's a 2, I'll have it linked to that value. Good stuff. Let's copy it down. Now, if it's an A, if it's a per foot number, I'm going to want to do $1 per foot. Now, we did not actually bring in the square footage from the previous page. So I'm going to need a schedule in order to be able to do this stuff here. I'm going to need a schedule. Let me insert some rows here so it's all nice and clean. I'm going to have a schedule where down here I'll put in, or I better yet up here I'll put in the square footage, which again was linked to the assumptions page, which was 10,000 feet. Again, format, make pretty. And then I'm also going to need an EGR line, because if we're going to do this percent of EGR, I'm going to need that. So I'm going to do EGR, and I'm going to link that back to this cash flow page. Cool. And I'll drag that across. Okay, so there's my EGR line and my square footage line. Okay, fine. Not the prettiest model, but you know, it gets the job done. Actually, you know what? Let me bring this. No, that's fine. That's fine as far as the layout. Okay, so in this case, the insurance would be take, instead of just bring in, you know, the letter A, we'll take the dollar per foot number and we'll multiply that by that square footage number. And I'll put some dollar signs on that because I want to fix that location. That'll work there and there. But then here, instead of doing the letter C, I'll say, let's take that number divided by 100, because, you know, it's a percent, times that EGR, and that's our operating expense number. Great. Now, let's drag some stuff across. The dollar amount and the insurance utilities, those things are going to grow. And again, if we add some spaces here, we had previously that we had an expense growth of on the assumptions page of 2%. And just because I like being specific, I'll call that growth rate expenses 2%. And again, this isn't the prettiest thing in the world, but you know, deal with it. So let me copy that cell back up here. And just checking something. Well, before I drag that back up, I'm going to put some dollar signs on that E7 on the EGR. I'm going to want to keep it in row 7. I'm going to want to have it float left to right, but always be in row 7. So I'll put a dollar sign in front of the 7, and I'll bring that back up. And now it's, you know, what it should be. It's in all those cells. Great. Now, I'm going to want to grow this by the growth rate, right? So I'm going to take the amount, which was method 2, and the insurance, which was method 1, and I'll grow it by some rate of growth. So I'll say, take whatever's in method 1 and make it grow by 1.02 to the power of the year I'm in minus 1, or in plain English, you know, don't grow it at all in year 1, right? Because year 1 minus 1 would be 0, and something to the power of 0 is just 1. It's just itself. So that's good. And then I'll throw some dollar signs on the growth rate. And on the E10, which is the year I'm in, I'll fix the row and float the letter. If I drag that across, let me copy that down. If I drag that across, say on insurance, it's not growing correctly. It's not growing correctly because it's doing 1 plus that to the power that minus 1, D12. That's annoying. Oh, because it's, you know what it is? I forgot to put a $sign on the letter and not the row. So I'll put $sign on the letter and not the row. The method is fixed. Again, copy that down and copy that across. It's not working correctly, probably because of the way I took things to the power of something. Actually, it's not working correctly because I need to fix that too. Okay, so I need to also put a dollar on the that. So annoying. Pardon me. And a $sign on the letter there, and a $sign on the letter there. Let's see if it works now. There it is. It's working. Beautiful. Okay, copy it down. Copy it up. Copy it over. It's kind of sort of working. It's working for the insurance and utilities. The management fee, it's working. You can see, like, for example, in year 5, it's saying take the EGR divided by, take 3 divided by 100, which is 0.03, multiply it by I7. That's working correctly. On this bit of math, it's working correctly. It's growing it at 2% per year, you know, because 5,000 grown at 2% is $100, right? Because that's 2%. C12, the amount isn't floating yet, so I need to make that work. So here, I'm going to take that whole, multiply it by the 1 plus the growth rate to the power of E10 minus 1, and I'm going to go here, and I'm going to put it not just on the dollar per foot calculation, but also on the amount calculation. I'll copy that up. I'll copy that over. I'll format it all nice and clean because this thing's ugly as heck. And there it is. That is now working as you'd expect. And again, to see the full ugly beast entirely, it's saying, look at the method. Is it a 1 or 2 of 3? If it's a 1, take the dollar per foot, which would be, again, you know, sort of up here, I'll do it here. That would be 3 times the square footage times 1 plus the growth rate to the power of the year you're in minus 1. That would be the dollar per foot one. Then if it's the letter 2, it would just be take the amount. Oh, I just need to drag that down and drag that across. Okay, so the dollar per foot one is fine because that's the, or sorry, dollar per foot is the first method. That's fine. The second method is a dollar amount. And as you can see, the dollar amount is saying take the 60,000 times 1 plus the growth rate to the power of the year I'm in minus 1. So in the first year, don't move it. In the second year, move it by, you know, to the first power, second power, third power. You get the idea. And the management fee is, again, just simply take the 3, divide by 100 times the EGR. Now I take this whole beast, the conclusion of it, which are these values down here, which are just the sum of those 10 rows. Again, I've left some flexibility here to add extra expenses. We can do that later. I will link my cash flow to this line, and I'll drag it across. I just realized also add a year 6. We didn't need to a year 6. There it is. The cash flow works as it should. And then because this has all been zeroed out here, I'll knock this off the assumptions page because we don't need the OpEx there anymore. because it's not linked to anything. And over here, I'll make blue the things that are inputs. I'll make those blue, and that should be the only thing really that's blue on this page. Yep, that's the only thing that's blue on this page is the values and the methods. And there you go. And that is how you build a subschedule to have different methods to calculate different expenses with inputs and build some flexibility into it. So based on the method, it calculates different things, and then it sums down to an operating expense line, which then in turn links into a cash flow page. Cool. In any event, I'm at 15 minutes, and you'll probably have to stare at this once or twice. Awesome. Glad you tuned in. If you're interested in more content like this, or if you have any suggestions for additional content, please contact me at josh@carrealestate.com, or if you'd like to attend one of my live classes, I run them every few weeks in New York City. If you can't attend in person, you can always attend it as a live webinar. I also deliver classes on site for corporations and universities throughout the world. You can read more about it on my website. Thanks again, and keep on building better models.